Honestly, I should have known better. It was last August, and I was driving through the back roads of West Virginia. I'd booked this tiny Airbnb for a writing retreat. You know the type. Secluded, quiet, off the grid. My GPS had been glitching for the last 20 miles, and the forest out there? Man, it's dense. It feels like the trees are leaning in, just waiting for the road to end. I finally pulled up to the cabin around 9:30 p.m. It looked okay, I guess. A bit more run down than the photos, but I was exhausted. The air was thick and humid. The only thing I could hear was the sound of my own boots on those rotting porch steps. Creak, creak. It's that kind of sound that makes you feel like you're trespassing, even though you paid to be there. By midnight, I was settled on this old peeling leather sofa. I was typing away on my laptop when I heard it. It wasn't a loud noise. It was this dry, rhythmic scratching, coming from the wall right behind my head. It sounded like, well, like someone was taking a jagged rock and slowly, very slowly dragging it across the wood siding outside. I stopped typing. My breath just hitched. I sat there for maybe 2 minutes, staring at the wall, praying it was just a branch. But then, the scratching moved. It slid from the wall, over to the window frame. I didn't want to look. Every instinct in my gut told me to keep my eyes on the floor, but I couldn't help it. I cut the lights, crawled over to the window, and peeled back the corner of the curtain. There was a man standing in the high grass, maybe 10 feet away. He was wearing this bright yellow raincoat that stood out like a sore thumb against the dark trees. He was just standing there, completely still. No flashlight, no phone, just staring at my window with these blank, hollow eyes. I've never felt a chill like that in my life. I backed away, fumbling for my phone. I sent a frantic message to the host, Sarah, asking if she knew who this guy was. I sat in the dark kitchen, holding a steak knife like a total cliché, just waiting. 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed. It was Sarah. She said, "Hey, I'm so sorry. That's probably just my brother Leo. He lives in a trailer on the back of the property. He's harmless, but he gets confused, and he likes to watch the guests. Just close the blinds. He'll go away eventually." I wanted to believe her. I really did. But then, my heart dropped. I remembered. When I first got there, I opened the small bathroom window to let out the smell of mold, and I never closed it. I stood up to go lock it, but I stopped dead in the hallway. From inside the bathroom, I heard a sound that still keeps me awake at night. It was the wet, rubbery sound of a heavy raincoat, crinkling, like someone was trying to squeeze through a tight space. I didn't pack. I didn't grab my bag. I just bolted. I hit that front door and sprinted to my car like my life depended on it. I didn't stop driving until I saw a lit-up gas station an hour away. The weirdest part? The next morning, I tried to message Sarah for a refund. The app said the listing was gone. The user didn't exist. I looked up the address on Google Earth later that week. And the house? It was just a burnt-out ruin. There hadn't been a roof on that cabin in years. So, who was I messaging? And who was in that bathroom? You know, they always tell you not to drive tired. They say you might fall asleep at the wheel, but they never tell you about the things you might see when your mind is hovering between being awake and dreaming. I was driving through the Midwest last November, somewhere between Nebraska and Wyoming. If you've ever been out there, you know, it's just miles and miles of absolutely nothing. Just flat plains, dead grass, and a sky so big, it makes you feel like an ant. It was about 3 o'clock a.m. The only thing keeping me awake was the hum of the engine and a lukewarm cup of gas station coffee. The road was empty. No headlights in front of me, no taillights behind. Just me and the dark. I happened to glance up at my rearview mirror. Just a habit, you know? And for a split second, I thought I saw a shape in the back seat. I blinked. I shook my head and looked again. Nothing. Just my gym bag and an old jacket. I figured it was just the shadows playing tricks on me. Exhaustion doing its thing. But 10 minutes later, I felt this sudden, sharp chill. The kind of cold that feels like someone just pressed a piece of ice against your spine. I looked at the mirror again. This time, I didn't see a shape. I saw eyes, 2 pale, milky white circles reflecting the dim green glow of my dashboard. They were staring at me from the darkness of the floorboards behind my seat. I didn't scream. I couldn't. My throat just locked up. I kept my eyes on the road, gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white, and told myself it wasn't real. It's just the caffeine, I whispered. Just the fatigue. But then, I heard the sound of fabric moving. Slow, deliberate, like someone was shifting their weight. I reached over and turned the interior light on. The car flooded with bright, yellow light. I looked back, ready to fight for my life. The back seat was empty. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding and started to laugh. I felt like an idiot. I turned the light back off, trying to settle my nerves. But as soon as the darkness returned, I looked at the mirror one last time. The eyes were back, but they weren't on the floor anymore. They were right behind my headrest. And this time, I could see a mouth, a thin, gray slit that wasn't smiling, just waiting. I didn't stop. I didn't pull over. I pushed that car to 100 miles an hour and didn't slow down until I hit a bright 24-hour diner in the next town. I left the car running, ran inside, and sat there until the sun came up. When it was finally light out, I went back to the car. I checked the trunk, under the seats, everywhere. There was nothing there. But on the back of my headrest, right where that thing would have been leaning, there was a damp, gray smudge, and it smelled like old, stagnant water. I don't drive at night anymore, and I keep my interior lights on, even in the city, because I realized something that night. Whatever was in that car didn't get in while I was driving. It had been waiting for me since I left home. And the worst part? I never saw it get out.
Thanks for watching the video.